Welcome to Tutus and Tea, a podcast created by two studio owners who care deeply about the future of the dance studio industry. This podcast was born out of real conversations, lived experiences, and a shared conviction that it's time to talk honestly about what is happening behind the scenes in the dance world. The good, the hard, and the things that often go unspoken. Welcome to our very first episode. We are so happy that you took the time to join us. My name is Michaela. I am a studio owner going on 13 years with background in ballet and the competition industry. And I'm joined here with my co-host.
Hello, my name is Macy. I am also a studio owner and a former professional ballet dancer, and I'm going on my third year of owning a studio, so I am a little bit fresh and new, and we are so excited to be talking about our very first topic. Our first episode for today is modesty.
Modesty in the dance world, or perhaps lack of.
Yes, lack of modesty.
Lack of modesty. Well, we have a similar background. However, you went pro with your ballet dancing. Can you tell us just a little more about that?
Yes. So I grew up only doing classical ballet, and once I turned 14 years old, I auditioned to go to a big fancy school in New York and was lucky to get to go there and spend my days full-time dancing while doing homeschool. So it was amazing.
Homeschoolers.
It was grueling. Yeah. But I do know that the modesty in the ballet world is very different from modesty in the dance world. When we get to competitions and just the dance industry, like commercial-wise, versus ballet performances, it's a pretty broad spectrum of modesty.
Yeah. Can you maybe share a little bit of some of the major differences that you've noticed now, kind of dipping your toe into the studio owner world, because now you're kind of getting a taste of everything. Maybe your students are, well, they're mostly ballet tracked, right?
Yes.
But maybe they've asked questions, so you've had to do more research. What are some things that you've noticed?
Absolutely. Well, the number one thing I noticed is most of my students have trained in all forms of dance before coming to my school, and so that was a bit of a learning curve for them based off of like what they're supposed to wear to ballet class. A lot of times dance studios around our area, and I'm sure across the country really, they maybe have a dress code, but outside of class there isn't really much of rules of what you're supposed to wear, even just walking to the car. And so when I was growing up, it was a very big deal to not show your tights or your leotard when you're outside of the studio. And that was a lot, mostly based off of what we were, doing outside of the studio. So when I lived in New York, it was a really hard, fast rule that you had to take off your performance makeup, make sure you basically have like a Superman identity when you're outside of the ballet studio, because there are some scary people out there who have some weird preferences, I should say. And so it's really just to protect you as the dancer, because, some of these dancers are like stars on stage in New York City, and if you recognize them out on the street, like who knows what could happen. So it's really for safety.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, safety and modesty. Just in your I wouldn't be wearing my underwear and bra outside the house, and we kind of refer to tights as underwear.
Yeah.
And a leotard as your,
Absolutely.
And so I try to tell my students, it's a modesty thing. It's also just a professional thing. Like this is what's, if you, progress and you one day audition for a ballet company, you should go into these, big companies already practicing this now, even as a child. Yeah. So parents sometimes think, oh, well, what's the big deal? Well, we're actually teaching our children a lot of important things by holding them to certain standards.
Yes,
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
absolutely. It's just like, most parents would agree that they're not going to send their kids to school in pajamas or with no pants on. I hope.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Well, a couple areas in the dance world, because if you're not familiar with the dance world, there really are sections.
Yes.
And it's a really beautiful family that all comes together to make the dance world. But you have your professional ballet dancers, the modern world, the contemporary world, the hip hop world, and it's vast. The tap world, which
I know nothing about the tap world.
same. And I my heart hurts because I know I should know more, and I don't want. I hope it's not dying. I hope they're doing okay.
Me too.
Yeah, but there's clogging too. I don't know
Yes.
anything about that.
I don't either.
That's cool though. It sounds awesome.
It does sound
I love clogging. But so with Modesty, I mean, we can just talk briefly about the competition world and what's being allowed there, because it's actually a little mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely
It's
mind-blowing.
it's horrifying. Just as a studio that upholds, we just really strive for a modest studio, so we don't allow crop tops, we don't allow booty shorts. That covers a lot of it. But
Yes.
when you go into these dance competitions, we're seeing bras and underwear, bedazzled though, so it's okay.
And we're seeing these on 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds.
Macy, I'm talking 2 and 3-year-olds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it's cute because it's sparkly. And it's okay because mommy and dad paid for it. And it's okay because we're also applauding it.
Yeah.
Every applause that I heard was someone saying this is okay.
Yeah.
And it really started to affect me. I worked for 5 years for one of the largest dance competitions. They'll remain unnamed.
Yes.
And I understand everything's a business. Our dance studios are a business.
Right.
These dance competitions, it's a business. But what's being allowed, I think, is just polluting the dance industry as a whole. So what was happening when my studio was competing is, we didn't dress like that. Or, I mean, also there's the whole provocative movement situation. We didn't dance like that. We didn't dress like that. So I was taking my students into this environment and reminding them that this is not okay. However, that kind of encourages judgment and being judgy. Yes. You see some girl walk by in a bra and underwear and you're like, oh my God.
Right.
And so then I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not good. I don't want to create little judgy people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because these children don't know better. It's their parents and teachers saying, 2 thumbs up, you look great, kid.
Yeah.
And that's like, it just was hard to watch. So we'll talk briefly, or not briefly, we'll talk more about this in depth, yes, about performance versus competition in later episodes. But just to briefly touch on that, I decided competition was no longer valid for my studio. It just went against a lot of things that I believed in. So we're now performance-based, and it's been the best decision of my life. And if I can just take a moment to say, if there's any dance teacher or studio owner that's listening to this right now, and you've had these thoughts about, first of all, the cost, what's going on, the competition company's not upholding the rules, and it can really be a cluster. If you've had any doubts, I just want to be the brave one to tell you that it's okay to go against the norm. It's okay to decide this isn't for you anymore. This isn't serving your vision. This isn't serving your students. It's causing conflict. It's causing cattiness, whatever it might be, whatever your reason. I know you've thought of it and you've considered, but then you're like, oh, but every studio has a competition team. I have to.
Not true.
No. And Macy, that is something we bonded over with in the first couple weeks of meeting each other.
Yes, I have only been performance-based my whole life. I spent 1 season studying jazz and kind of getting into, competing, just 1 season. I think I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, and really quickly was like, this is not for me. I was super uncomfortable, even as a child. And, I'm really grateful for that because I know that was my experience only because I hadn't been exposed to it so early, where I feel like, it's really heartbreaking to see these children becoming a product of their environment. If they're starting, most dancers are starting 3 years old. And so if they're just learning that at such an early age, by the time they're 11, 12, 13, going through those really challenging growth years, it becomes so hard. They're just programmed to believe like, oh, this is how I can dress. Oh, this is how I can show my body, and like, they're your children. They need to be protected. So it was really interesting for me. Like I said, when I did this like one competition, I think maybe one or two, I remember we were in fishnets and we were not the most provocative group that was there. And I think our dance was Big Spender.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a copyright issue saying it. But.
No. Wow.
But the whole time I felt very uncomfortable. And, I think my mom wasn't even really aware of what was going to be performed. And, after that happened, we had the discussion where I was just like, that was uncomfortable. And my mom absolutely agreed. And I was like, you know what? I don't need this. My goal is ballet. Of course, it's important to train in jazz and modern and contemporary. It's so important to have that cross training, but it doesn't have to be in that outlet. There are so many other ways that you can still train and do all the dance forms without, going off the rail.
Off the rail. That's, yeah.
With
and
all that. Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you have put your kids in those costumes or your studio owner does allow things so you push the line, this is not a judgment to you. I want you to know that we're just stepping out and saying, maybe let's do a little better. There is so much time for these children when they graduate or they continue in dance for them to explore whatever they want to explore. I don't believe as dance studio owners or as dance educators that we should be the ones to expose them to sexual things, to immodesty. So this is just a call to encourage you that you don't have to do that. There are so many cute dance ideas. If it's like a solo or a group dance, there's so many creative ideas. I just want to encourage you to step out, really dive into your creativity and not rely on, whatever this is.
And I think that's so important that you are bringing in the parents. We really need to put the power back into the parents' hands, because I think that also is something that has really gotten out of hand in the dance world, specifically with dance studios.
I agree.
Where, as much as we love the support of the parents, and you guys are really the reason that we're in business, it's also been alarming sometimes where I have parents coming to me and, asking me things where I'm like, you're the parent. This is absolutely your call. I'm not, at the end of the day, I care for your children, but I'm not their parent. And I hope that you realize that, this is your child and we want what's best for them. But if there's something that I were to say that you don't agree with and that later on your child or the parent will regret, I would never forgive myself. I would feel so guilty, and that's a big responsibility. So I think it's really important to remind the parents, this is your child. Whatever you think is uncomfortable, you have the right to say, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Yes. Just because the dance teacher had this great idea for them to bring a pull out on stage doesn't mean we have to do that.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, why? Why has this been okay? Let's cover the kids back up. Let's calm those hips down a little bit.
Yes.
There's plenty of time for that in the future if they so choose. But for now, while they're children, let's try to protect them a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Shifting gears, I want to get your thoughts really on this, because it came across my TikTok the other day and my jaw hit the ground.
Oh no.
Burlesque ballet.
I have never heard of this. Please tell me what this is.
I'm alarmed.
Oh no.
I'm alarmed because here's the thing. they were great dancers. And it appeared that they were all professionally trained.
Okay.
And they're in G strings, guys,
Oh my gosh.
gyrating to like Swan Lake and like taking real ballets and perverting them. I'm sure maybe this is more in like LA is happening. I don't know. But now I've seen a couple of videos where I'm like, oh, this is a thing. People are buying tickets.
Wow. You know, I find it sad. I find that sad because, like so many genres of dance, there's such a rich history in the genre of dance. And with ballet, there's such a rich history of it being a fine art and storytelling these classics. You're thinking of Romantic era, Romeo and Juliet, Swan Lake. I mean, there's such beautiful stories, beautiful costumes, and to see that kind of taken and perverted or like flipped upside down, I find that to be so sad.
It's so sad. And I know these are adults. And so now they have chosen this and that's fine.
That's their decision.
But leave the classics alone.
I know.
Please.
And that doesn't even have to be limited to the dance world. I mean, we see so many like movies and shows and they flip them, and I understand like artistically probably they're just wanting something fresh and new, but why don't you just make an original then and like have that be your project, have that be your baby? But
I know. I just wanted a real life ballerina's reaction to that because I was like, no way.
Oh, that's really sad.
It's so sad.
It's sad to me.
It is. I also just want to comment quickly how Macy and I obviously we're friends, and this is how this podcast came to be because we just had so many conversations and agreed on so many topics and things. But it is very rare that two studio owners in the same county could be friendly.
Yes.
Start there, friendly.
Unfortunately.
But it's possible, and I think that it's really beautiful, and I've enjoyed this friendship.
Me too.
Against all odds, I just firmly believe in collaboration over competition, and we all offer something different. And I'm talking about like studio owners and teachers. No two studios are the same. And I think that's really beautiful and it should be celebrated. And I don't think that you should be, scared to maybe reach out to a studio.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? What's your take on that?
I think for sure, I mean, mostly my experience lies within the ballet world. So I would say, and this is true with any studio, I think, but specifically in the ballet world, it's like highly competitive with, we're the correct ballet school, you are the wrong one, that kind of thing. And I just know that a lot of times directors and teachers kind of have the mentality of like my way or the highway. And so I think that that's a really special thing if you can find another studio owner or director or whoever they are that you can like celebrate your differences, but also be able to be transparent with each other. And it's really cool that we get to do that. I've never had that experience before. Even just growing up at different studios, it's like, oh, hush, hush, if you took one class at that other studio, don't say it,
Yeah, that's
loyalty.
That was so, you were like outcast.
Yes, disowned.
So-and-so took a technique class. Yes. Oh my gosh. That's another thing at my studio. I don't make anyone sign a paper that say they can't be educated anywhere else. Right. You know what I mean?
It's just like school. I mean, you have the right to choose your school, and if it's not a fit, then you're welcome to go to another place. These clauses and contracts for children, I mean,
I suppose that could be a whole episode.
I'm not sure when we turned into like an agency in LA, the whole dance industry. Like, how did that happen?
I would love to maybe dive deeper on that in future episodes, because I think, where did it begin?
I have no idea.
Where did this start?
Yeah.
Yeah, it started somewhere. And something that just came to mind, if you guys haven't read this book, we'll probably talk more about this in the competition versus performance episode, but there's an author and studio owner out there. Her name's Chastity Hamilton, and she has a book. She has a few books. The main book being Trash the Trophies, and how her studio went from competition to performance. She really did a good job of researching when the dance studio became so not corrupt, but like just very catty, and the drama began. And she was able to trace it back to the first episode aired of, you guessed it, Dance Moms.
Oh my goodness.
And I just really enjoyed her research on going back and figuring out, when did the dance studio become so like taboo and just so weird and so catty, and this is acceptable and this is how we act, and it was that show.
Wow. I have a disclaimer. This is like a secret. I've never seen Dance Moms, and I never will.
Good.
It's just a personal thing. I think it started airing, maybe I was middle school, not to age myself, but when that came out, some of my classmates at the studio, they were watching it with their parents, and, I was just like, oh, it sounds like not a good environment, and I'm not interested in that. At the time, probably dealing with my own not great environment, and so I'm like, why would I indulge in that if I'm trying to just focus on getting better at dance? And wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sad for the general public who thinks that is how the dance studio is, because it just shined a light on a studio that was actually going into bankruptcy and failing, but they got a show deal. And so, not saying that that's the reason for their cattiness, but TV's TV. They need the drama.
Yeah.
But that just really advertised dance studios as like, this is what's going on.
Right. And I think it really became so glamorized too. I think it's one thing if you're just watching it for pure entertainment, but so you could say like, oh, I'm a fan because it's, if reality TV is your thing, then that's your thing. But as far as representing the dance world, I think it did more harm than good, for sure.
I agree. And I can't wait to dive more into that with you.
Me too.
Would you take a moment to share just like a little foreshadowing of what's to be expected and some more topics that we're going to cover?
Yes. So we are so excited. We're going to be talking about competition versus performance and what that entails as far as, how studios are run, also just dancers' journeys, if they've done one or the other, if they're considering maybe making a switch. We'll also be talking about social media and dance and how that is affecting not only the youth, really, it's affecting everyone, I think. So we're really excited. We have so much more, but those are just a few little sneak peeks.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. We are excited, we're joyful about what we do, and we just hope to share that with you and to let you know that there is a better way to be running your studio and to be enjoying the dance world. And we just hope to shine light on that and inspire you and encourage you. So to all the studio owners out there right now, you're doing a great job. This is a hard thing that you've chosen to do, but it's impactful, and we're really proud of you.
Yes. Don't lose sight of the goal.
The goal.